Welcome back to Arise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Charles Anyekolo, and we heard Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe defending himself against a scathing attack from Governor Nyesom Wike, who's accused him of lacking integrity and credibility for allegedly collecting money, and then just 3 days later, according to Governor Wike, reneging on an agreement not to leave the PDP and going ahead and joining the rival APGA party. Well, listening to all that, our lead commentators who are with me for the rest of the program to focus on that discussion and, time allowing, other issues of the day. And tonight I'm joined by our outside guest, the public policy analyst Chibuzo Okereke, and by our in-house Arise News analyst and former chairman of the editorial board of Daily Trust newspaper, Mahmood Jega. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for coming in. Let me start with you, Chibuzo, because you're the outside bloke. What do you make of Senator Abaribe's, first of all, the allegation against him by Governor Wike, and then Senator Abaribe's defense of those allegations?
Yeah, well, first I was concerned, but I can say that this is all about politics, and politics. Governor Wike received a lot of support from the governor of Abia State when he was running for the president, primaries rather, of the PDP. And of course, Bazo has been his friend, even though many people are concerned about the imbalance in that relationship, where Rivers State seems to be advancing in infrastructure development, and there are gaps in Abia State, which is why people are complaining that, I mean, if you have a friend that is so close to you, we should have what is going on in your state, but the other intervening factors. But I was concerned that Governor Wike could make that statement. I think it was beneath, somebody of his standing, because if you said somebody wanted to leave the party, and that person is the minority leader of the Senate and the leader of the opposition party in the National Assembly, and you made contact with him allegedly, and he told you he needed some money, and you people gave to him, and 3 days after he left. I mean, it could be either way. Now the senator says, there were attempts to bribe me, and I stood consistently because I have integrity. So it's not his words against that of the senator, but we shouldn't play this kind of politics. It's within the right of the senator to seek for re-election. He's a ranking member, and the senatorial district knows what that means in the National Assembly. Also, the governor seeking political position switch to be promoted from the governorship seat to the National Assembly is within his democratic right to do so. But this kind of interventions does not allow us focus on the issue. For instance, distinguished Senator Abaribe has been in the Senate for about 20 years or so.
I think 16
or
years.
16. What has that translated? What are the kind of bills, legislation he has brought either nationally or that imparts his senatorial district? What are the kind of constituency services that are going on there? Those are the kind of things the opposition should be, his opponent rather, should be using to engage the people to say, I mean, this guy has been around. We have seen nothing. We need to change him, and then give him that fight, and not to take a blow that is beneath. Yeah.
Okay, let me come to you, Mahmood Jega. What do you make of this conflict, let me call it that, between Governor Nyesom Wike and Senator Abaribe? Beyond being entertaining to watch, I mean, how serious are the implications, given that there's talk of money changing hands, there's deception, there's a lack of integrity, and all those things?
Well, the issue is, you see, all over the country, there are many governors that are completing their second terms. And most of them want to go to the Senate next if they can't be president. Okay, and when a governor wants to grab the Senate seat of his party, there is almost no power around that can stop him. You know, even a powerful man like the Senate minority leader easily got displaced by the outgoing governor who wanted the same ticket. Okay, so there have to be brickbats flying. But although it's not very surprising of Governor Wike, who is almost an unguided missile. But you know, people should be careful. If all you are doing is supporting your friend, Governor Ikpeazu, and you say things that will bring the entire political class into disrepute. This thing you are saying, that you offered him money, we don't know the truth. He has denied it. But even if it is true, how does it really sound, you know, between senior governor and
there's a giver and a taker.
Exactly.
Sort of
that is it all that there is to the politics. Really, there is nothing you can say that is convincing. There are no political carrots that you can exchange. Is it raw money that will keep a man like that in PDP, which he has been in and was a senior legislator for 16 years? You know, it was totally unbecoming. These are not things that you say. And what happens if one day, maybe when you are shorn of the constitutional immunity as a governor, you are charged to court for attempted bribery?
Absolutely.
I mean, bribery is an offense.
Because you
came out and said it
Yeah.
publicly at a rally with thousands of people there. Now, offering bribe in Nigeria is a crime. So political leaders should be very careful. Just because you want to help your friend to get elected, you go and say things that are totally unbecoming, even though, okay, maybe I can't be arrested, I can't be prosecuted, I can't even be sued by the man. But he should have used his words very carefully. And I like Senator Abaribe's reply. It was measured, quite so. Of course, he was very agitated. It was a big blow to him personally, the thing about integrity.
The fact that it's very public, I mean, that's the problem, isn't it?
It was at a rally. Maybe I don't think he expected it.
Yeah. So let me come to you, Chibuzo Okereke there. I mean, listening to Mahmoud Jega just now, when we see and hear these kinds of very public altercations between serving politicians, is that likely to make the public have even lower opinions of these politicians? In other words, that many of the people who run this country, their country, are not very nice people and are actually potentially dangerous.
Well, absolutely, and you are correct. If you look at the public perception index of Nigerian politicians, it's far below average, and they are doing nothing ahead of the 2023 election to change that. And you see, when there is lack of content and philosophical leadership, you see people throw all kinds of jabs. Because when there is content and ideology and things to market to buy the people, then you stay on the issues. Unfortunately, we have been disappointed by the political parties. Ahead of the many of the primaries, we knew what happened, how the delegate issue and all kinds of things happened, and a lot of people were just thrown out. Our political parties in Nigeria has been captured, especially since this Fourth Republic. There is
state capture,
state capture by the political elite and the capitalist politicians. That is what is going on. You can spend 20 years in Nigeria and very good, very sound. Nobody will approach you to join his party. But if you're able to bring a certain amount of money, you will be the leader of the party the next day. So this is affecting public trust, and that distrust is also affecting governance. If people don't believe in you, how is your policy going to even happen? And you can't deliver. And this is the issue. And then we have to now wear the toga of autocracy in a democratic setting to be able to find the way to the people, because already there is a distrust. People don't believe you. So our political leaders need to realize that beyond politics there is governance. And governance is not happening because governance has to be democratized. People will be involved. Policy will be deliberated upon. People will understand programs and projects of government and how it affects them. And leaders need to rise to the occasion that actually we need transformational leaders in the country that can be a model that people can follow, after, and raise the bar for confidence so that together we can move the country forward.
I have to say that without taking sides, I mean, going to Abia State, I mean, there are parts of their state, like Aba, for example, absolutely appalling.
Well, I'm from Abia State. I'm from Abia, not Senatorial District. And I can tell you, Arochukwu local government, to be, precise. Since 2015, because most of the people there voted for the ABGA candidate at the time, Alex Oti, that place has been suffering. The Arochukwu Road for more than how many years, in fact, since I was born, have not received significant intervention, except for the work the House of Rep member, the intervention he did for Arochukwu Federal Constituency. But you wonder, this is the kind of thing that affects public governance system, where people lead and service the state according to the votes they have garnered. And I'm worried that everything is just about politics. You have to know how to win the people over. When people don't believe in what you are, don't believe in your idea, they didn't vote for you for whatever reason, it is your job as a leader to convince them otherwise, and not to leave them underdeveloped and impoverished and punish them for not doing so, because it's not everybody
well,
from
it happened
that
on
zone.
The perception is that it happened on the national level.
It's not everybody from that zone that is a voter. They are just normal citizens.
Right.
And this is of a very big concern.
Yeah.
How we govern after election doesn't show that we understand
That's a good
the
point.
ideology of leadership.
Mahmoud Jega, I'm going to ask you this question. Why does it seem like, I mean, obviously, I'm asking it hypothetically because, I mean, as you said, it's one person's word against the other. But why does it seem like everyone is playing Nyesom Wike, who we all thought was the master politician? I mean, he's apparently been played by Atiku Abubakar, by the PDP, by Iyochia Ayu. And now, if we buy that story of his, by Engineer Baribe.
Well, Governor Wike has made himself a very major factor in the politics of 2023. By running, he didn't win, although he made a very big impact, came second. But what he did after losing the primaries is even more important, the oldest party in the country, PDP, he virtually factionalized it. Very surprisingly, he was able to mobilize 4 other governors to be following him from London to Ibadan and everywhere. So he really garnered more political power than we thought was. And the most probable explanation was the resources at his disposal. River State is a very rich oil-producing state, although it is not the only one. Probably there are others that receive even more. I think Delta and Akwa Ibom.
But they don't use it in the same way.
But they don't use it in the same way. But in his own case, it looks like he has completely personalized. I mean, in fairness to him, he has done a lot of projects. He calls himself Mr. Project. And every day he's inviting somebody
people to commission things.
to come and commission. And the way he does the invitation even creates absolute chaos. Because he invites people from NPP, from the president.
There seems to be a political angle to all of that.
Exactly. So I think in every election cycle, there are people that come up and become important. Some of them endure for many more election cycles. In his own case, it is doubtful whether he will remain an important factor after he leaves Government House in May, because this kind of tactic probably can only be sustained because he is a sitting governor. That's my own suspicion.
Yeah, but that's a very good point. And Chibuzo, you're from Abia State. Can Senator Abaribe defeat an incumbent governor who's been endorsed by Nyesom Wike and other sort of people and somehow secure re-election, or is he now taking his last breath of political relevancy? What is your sense?
Well, what I can say is that what is on the ballot for federal National Assembly election is not an endorsement from any friend or fellow governor. Governor Wike is a very important figure, that is the fact.
Yeah, but Governor Wike has got a lot of money.
Yeah, he's got a lot of money. He's a very important figure. I think the governor will put up a good fight, right? I can't say for now, because I'm not from that senatorial district, but I know that Senator Baribe is very experienced, very vocal. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, experienced legislators suffer a lot because the people are asking for more representation beyond your theatrics or display at the plenary in the floor of the Senate. So how much of that display has impacted the people of his senatorial district will go a long way to count for him. Like he said in the interview, he is banking on the fact that there is a modern system of electoral
so there won't be any rigging, basically.
And there won't be any rigging.
Yeah.
And indirectly, almost all the politicians have confessed that they have been heavily involved in rigging, and the fact that INEC improvement has gotten to them, and they need the people now. So I will wish they're expressing their democratic rights is the fact. The governor himself may have done a lot for his people, and they believe by the time he gets to the Senate, he can do more. So they will go to the polls, and the people will make that decision, because the governor has given 8 years. The senator has given even 16 years in the Senate, plus the time he was the deputy governor in Abia State. So the people know both of them very well. Beyond power of incumbency, they've been in public service, their results or impacts are out there, and the people are able to assess it and make that determination. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Mahmoud Jega, I'm just getting a text coming in from someone who I don't really know, but they're asking me a question which I will put to you, because you're the analyst, and therefore you're the brilliant one. Should the public pay much attention to these squabbles by politicians, or should they have bigger things on their minds?
We certainly have bigger things on our minds, as you were saying. I mean, we would like, at the minimum, to hear about what a man who has been deputy governor and senator for 16 years, and what the other man who has been governor for 8 years have been doing, and the impact it has had. That's more important than whether a bribe was offered and was accepted or was not accepted. And more seriously, we should also be looking forward. Okay, if you are to come back as a senator, or if you are to migrate from governor to senator, what exactly would be your priorities when you get to the Senate, and how do you get, because, you know, like the little unfortunate part of what Senator Abaribe said was, okay, he accepted that Abia South didn't get much in the last 8 years, but as he said, it's not only Abia South, in the whole of the Southeast.
Right.
Okay, what do you intend to do about that? Because things should not continue like that, even if you blame some other people for the marginalization, but there has to be a way out, and we would like to hear what is the plan that you have. So certainly we have bigger things on our mind, but unfortunately what the politicians are serving us now are these theatrics, some of them dangerous.
Yeah. For the moment, although it's quite possible that Abaribe actually addresses some of those things. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't attended any of his
No, I disagree with him because there are models.
You mean with Abaribe?
With Senator Abaribe. There are models of representation. We have the delegate model, we have the trustee model, we have the political. These are concepts. Any lawmaker should be able to understand that it speaks to the foundation of how a legislator should legislate, or how should he represent. One of the critical skills you must have is the lobbying skill. Your ability to lobby is very important. No matter the depth of infrastructure or neglect for the Southeast, That is why we have deliberative democracy that created the National Assembly, where everybody meets. And through that process, you are able, even if you are the leader of the opposition, you still know you owe your senatorial district a very big responsibility for constituency.
So you have to find a way to communicate with the other side.
To communicate with the other side and deliver for your people. So his excuse for that one is not tenable, because he's not in the executive arm. He is in the legislature. I know that it's quite difficult under the current government for somebody like him, but again, your lobbying skill is needed, you know, because your constituents will not accept that because you're doing opposition role, we should suffer.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And just before we go, let me, because it's always I don't have you here every day, and I don't have him here every day. So in 30 seconds or so, what's your sense of the way the political landscape is looking at the moment? What's your best guess of how things are likely to go in 30 seconds?
Well, I'm very worried. Today I was listening to the presidential candidate of the APC, where he said to mention the name of his opponent will be a disgrace to him. And I'm worried that those,
you mean while he was in Rivers State?
Why he was in Rivers or somewhere. And the other time in Lagos, he also said to mention the name of the deputy governorship candidate of the PDP in Lagos in his presence will be a taboo or something, you know, like that. So this, I'm worried that the leading candidates are making this kind of statement. How are you going to govern when you emerge? If mentioning the name of your opponent is a disgrace to you, that means you're already a deity, and deity should be in the shrine and receive sacrifices, not in the presidency.
We've got 20 seconds, Mahmood.
Well, the campaigns have picked up, that's for certain, better than we had for many months. And we will be expecting a lot more brickbats, that's inevitable, but we also expect going forward between now and February to hear more concretely the programs that they intend to pursue.
Okay. Mahmood Jega, Chibuzo Kereke, thank you very much indeed to both of you. That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again next week. From me and the entire team here in Abuja and Abia State, bye-bye and thank you for watching.